Hi everyone, this is the CI/CD UX meeting, and yeah, we have a couple of items in the agenda. I know that Nadia is not joining. I think she added some async topics to it. Let's see. Anyone wants to jump into what she's talking about? PM UX engineering collaboration in CI/CD. And she talks a little bit about the product development workflow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read. So please interrupt me at any moment.
I want to make a point on this one that when Nadia penned this down, the workflow hadn't changed and it has undergone a lot of changes very recently. So, and that also means that, we were technically basing our UX definition of done on the existing product development workflow. And that also needs to evolve. So all the discussions that we have had, we might have to have them again.
Do you want to kind of highlight a little bit the discussions and kind of summarize some of the topics, Vitika, just for the sake of, yeah.
I don't remember very clearly, but I have a faint, I could recall that we now have an extended validation phase in the product development workflow, and design is kind of a part of the solution validation phase. And that itself is, I think, a pretty big change. So maybe we were kind of following the same approach, but how we were addressing those phases, the terminologies we were using, at least that definitely has to change in the UX definition of done. And I think Nadia could use this as an opportunity as well, because pipeline authoring's UX page is yet to be set up, and she could consider all the new changes and create something from scratch.
Mm-hmm. So I'm taking some notes here. So yeah, she can follow up async to set up these definitions. And then we can talk to Nadia if anything needs to need clarification. I'm still not up to date with all the changes, I personally, in the product development workflow, because I haven't started working hands-on with the PMs yet, but I'm curious to see how this is going to affect. Maybe Audit, you have some insights from a product point of view?
Not really. I'm planning to go to the Ask Me Anything session. I think that's today or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I don't fully comprehend what's going on there.
Yeah. So maybe that's an action item for all of us. Follow up and see how that affects our ways of working. And let's see how that goes. Yeah. Any comments on that before I jump to the next one? Final comments? No? Ian, I see your new house. You have stairs now, so nice.
I do have stairs. It is wonderful. And I have a stable internet connection. Two things that are just wonderful today.
Life is good.
Are you going to miss the canal?
Sorry?
Aren't you going to miss the canal and the work that they were doing in front of your house?
I will miss the canal. I will not miss the work or the tourists or anybody else around. Just the fact that it's not out front anymore will bother me. But there's one a 2-minute walk away, so I'll get by somehow.
You have tourists?
Yes. Currently, they're just other Dutch people coming to Amsterdam, but then we tend to get a lot more.
That's the beauty of Amsterdam. There's always something happening, but it's also the curse if you live in the city center. Awesome. I added a couple of FYI items here. It's the first one is that I added, I think over the last week, I added a couple of points to the UX, to the verify group page in the handbook, just pointing to where UX pages live. So this is just for awareness. So yeah, Vitika, especially if you think that there's something else that could be added here, by all means, just add a merge request. And kind of just want to clarify I want to clean up all these handbook pages because I see that there's a lot of information being repeated on how we work, or I don't know, our team strategies. And I think we should refer to one source of truth. So for example, the CI/CD UX page. And I'm adding this I'm tasking myself with some of this cleanup later on. So I might ping you
Yeah.
for feedback later on.
That's a good point, because I also observed that on the UX page, there's kind of a duplication of some information that should live on the Verify CI product development workflow page.
Yeah, so it's a bit of it's a pain for us to keep updating all these pages. So I was just gonna make sure that, yeah, we have the least, not the least information, but we're pointing to one source of truth. I think that will help moving forward, especially also when we talk about the product workflow, definition of done, etc. It would be nice to have one place of reference. And my next point is that in case you haven't seen it yet, there was a merge request adding some information on future investments and priorities for ops sections. And here's a link to the page, and it talks a little bit about our 10% investment priorities, and yeah, the strategy for acquisition plans, etc. So the three main topics are Verify Runner, platform enablement, package enterprise, hardening, and accelerating secrets management. If you haven't seen it yet, I would say have a look at this page. And maybe bring questions to your PMs and maybe audit. If you also have context here, if you
Well, I can say that we're looking into A/B testing and feature flags to accelerate, but so far we've kind of said, like, we haven't found something good. Everything is lacking and we already do it. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's an issue also linked here that talks about the research. No, sorry, not the research, but a list of all issues related to the investment or the focus for ops. So it might be interesting to look into how some of these affect your product areas. And Vitika, you're next.
I'm not next. This is just a comment that should have been put. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of wanted to take this opportunity to ask you all, like, how are you feeling about these meetings, and what can we use these moments to, you know, for the sake of the cross collaboration? I know that we have this one, and then we also have the reviews and Think Big, but yeah, we have less attendance, I think, in the last month or so, like less than 2 months. So I just kind of wanted to hear from you if you have any thoughts on changing the cadence of these calls, the CI/CD UX calls, or changing the format or whatever. So open question, if you have any feedback.
I, for one, do feel that we should add some rituals to this meeting. For example, what are the current important things that we are working across, like all the stages that we are concerned with, so that if there's an opportunity to maybe collaborate or even to comment that, okay, something similar on similar lines is happening on my stage group, or we are working on a component that touches upon the feature you're talking about. Yeah, that should be added.
So like having standing items that we know that in a way, yeah, are owned by multiple people. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I usually don't join this call because it's very UX focused. I had some time today, so I thought I would join. I think that given the current circumstance, I don't know how much cross work we're going to do in the near future, because there's just so few designers for the stage at the moment. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah. For me, I agree with Vitika. I think it would be nice to kind of use these moments to talk about a little bit of something, about something that it's interesting or that's been going on in your stage group, but make it more topical. I think that's also what Nadia was trying to do with the review sessions, right? We had the synchronous UX review session, so it doesn't necessarily have to be about work, but it would be nice if it would be a bit more topical, so people can add asynchronously, maybe, and then whoever joins, or if we can just decide to not have the face-to-face call, the content is there. Let's see how that goes. Any ideas for like a topic, Vitika? Even though, like, considering what Audie said right now, what would you like to see being discussed?
Well, another thing is, I mean, because of so many new work that's happening around, and I mean, I know that me, Nadia, we are trying to innovate every day with the process that we are following, and it starts from how we plan to how we conduct the review sessions with the developers. All of that, we are trying out new processes, so maybe we could share about that. And I completely, for example, changed the way I used to plan with my team, and the new planning process, it's working out so well, not just for me, I think for the whole team. I had only proposed one change, that instead of tracking my items somewhere else on a spreadsheet, I want to do it on the planning issue, and that we keep the planning issue open throughout the milestone and not close it and keep visiting it. And I mean, in the beginning, everybody was kind of skeptical about how that might work out, but it's working out for everyone.
I really like the idea of adding conversations or topics that bring us together, talking about how we handle problems on individual teams. Because just like Vithika is saying, where there's this planning issue and that, then our work is now in there. We did that on package and it really changed the game. So not only did I have a single source of truth of what design is being worked on, it didn't interfere with engineering or the boards. They were also aware of it at the same time. Being able to talk about those kind of interconnections could be really helpful.
I know that I don't think we have one of these calls this year anymore. Christmas, New Year's. I think next one is is January 2021. Oh no, we have one next week because we canceled or moved something. But maybe we can set ourselves here to kind of play around with this format next time, and then just have this more focused conversation. That would be super cool. And Vitika, you added your planning issue here. Do you want to share more?
Yeah. So in this planning issue, if you see, there's I mean, we used to have this long back, a section for the UX work. It started off with 4 issues and it has grown to 11, I think. And it's not that this was a very unique milestone. This used to happen every milestone, just that it was not documented all at one place. So I was kind of handling all of these things on my own, and my PM and the development team, they were not always aware of what are the changes which are happening on my workload. But now it's very transparent. And so others have also started to list other things that they work on, that which are kind of unplanned, and or maybe they're added after milestone had started. Those documentations have started to happen. Then we also started to discuss about promoting things within the team. So how would we promote a certain feature that we have worked on in a milestone to everyone outside? And is it something that we should promote before it gets released, or should we promote a teaser first and maybe the feature at the next milestone? The planning also happens here on this issue now, and it worked out pretty well for this 13.7 at least. And we are going to use the same process for 13.8.
So that spreadsheet that you are using, in a way, is translated now here to this issue,
yes,
right?
I don't visit that anymore.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think one of the most powerful things, in my opinion, is giving people visibility on what you're working on and helping like us ourselves, but as a PM, have a more informed conversation about what's coming next for UX. So I love that you you move things from that sheet to this issue. So that's awesome.
Also, Ian asked me to add his items to the planning issue. And something that I thought about, even though Ian didn't answer, I know that Nadia at the time had a issue where UX doesn't get to weight things in terms of UX, and there was this separate spreadsheet where you were adding UX weight. So I think this could be a really nice place to consolidate that and like put the UX weight on the issue in the planning, so that it's visible to everyone. You don't have to look for another separate location.
Right. And one more thing I would want to point out, or is that the design issues, if you go to them, they are not assigned any milestone, because I mean, it's a good practice to work on them in advance. Earlier, what was happening was, since I was tracking them separately, I had to assign a milestone to them, and it used to cause a lot of confusion. Like, is this a candidate? Is this not a candidate? Is it in a milestone backlog and all of that? Now it's very clear. There's just one place to go and look at.
Yeah, this is awesome. All these timelines that we are very engineering focused, and then once we start like adding UX things, there's always these questions: are we building this thing right now? Yeah, so it's awesome to see that you can clarify that with the this, not just the status, but yeah, this is design work, right? You still need engineering involvement, but your responsibility in the planning, it's clear. Yeah. I used to do that.
We had, this is like the first milestone that we're actually doing this. So I don't have like a good retrospective in terms of what it works. But what I like about it is A, it gives the team visibility into what the UX designer is doing. And B, it also kind of sets an expectation that they're going to be pinged on this issue. So.
Right, yeah.
Totally. With the.
It works really well with having engineers be aware of what we're going to be working on, which is a huge step forward. And I think kind of to what Vitika was saying earlier, nobody gets confused about this milestone is in 13.7. Does that mean design is doing it in 13.7? Or does that mean it's engineering in 13.7 and the design is late? That conversation has gone away entirely. It's all in this nice issue. We're using GitLab. There's no spreadsheets anywhere else. I really like it.
So Vitika, since yeah, you're planning on applying this also for the next milestones, can you bring back to us maybe some more insights and learnings, and in case something happens or something changes, yeah, it'd be nice to hear, yeah, how the team is adapting to that, and yeah, the results you see there, so we can discuss it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning is always hard. I just want to say that planning is always painful. So finding one little way a small way to improve it for yourself is just, yeah. And I kind of have a question, Vitika, on, you have priority and you also have the way, right, on the issues.
Yeah.
You get like asked the developers about, I don't know, the UX weight. Is there a clear understanding that the UX weight is different from the engineering weight? Or this is like a topic?
Right. Since I'm not working in the same milestone, and probably I am 2 to 3 milestones ahead of the development work. So, I mean, developers don't even have to care about how I'm weighting my issues when it is in design phase. They are completely, I mean, it's totally up to me how I manage that. And the priority, I discussed that with my PM, and then we set priority so that in case we have some meeting coming up in the middle of the milestone, or we need to make some presentation, so we try to attend to those items first and then move to the others. And in the process, it often happens that I don't even get time to think about the priority of some items and have to work on them on the go. So those are listed at the bottom, that they were unplanned, but they're done.
Yeah, I'm asking this because when I tried to apply weight with the release management team, that was a very confusing conversation about,
Yeah,
engineering weight.
We can never get on the same plane.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds good, peeps. Anything else you'd like to discuss today before we wrap up? No? Confused faces? Not, no? Awesome. Then, yeah, let's get back some 20 minutes more days and see each other later.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.